Let's dive into the latest update on Cullston Lovelin and his shoulder injury as the Chicago Bears head toward training camp. Everyone's been wondering what his status is, especially with rookies about to report and the camp intensity ramping up. Lovelin recently spoke about how things have been going during his first annual football camp, and what he shared gives us some clues but also leaves a bit of uncertainty. He said it's been going well so far, but he hasn't really faced live contact or the kind of physical play that comes with full practices and pads on. That's an important distinction, because when he's running routes, catching passes, and doing lighter work, the shoulder seems to be holding up just fine. But the real test will come when he's taking hits. Whether that's from linebackers, charging off the line of scrimmage safeties, coming downhill for tackles, or just the usual bump and grind of practice. It's worth remembering that the training camp environment is designed to be intense, but it's not the full-on shoulder-to-shoulder brawl of decades past like the Oklahoma drills from the 70s. Still, there's contact after the initial few days, and that's when you really find out if an injury is going to flare up or if a player can push through without setbacks. My gut feeling is that Lovelin might not be cleared for full contact immediately. Ideally, I'd love to see him go full throttle from day one, making big plays and showing no hesitation. But the vibe I'm picking up suggests he might have to ease in a little, ramping up his workload as the camp progresses. That said, nothing is set in stone, and we'll have a much clearer picture in the coming week once we see him in those full contact situations. The schedule to keep an eye on is this. Rookies, including Lovelin, are set to report on the 19th of July, followed by the veterans on the 22nd. The first official full team practice open to the public is on the 25th, though the actual initial full contact team sessions may start a day or two before that. Then the preseason kicks off with a game against the Miami Dolphins on the 10th of August. Ideally, Lovelin will be ramped up to somewhere around 85 to 90% by the time the public can watch practice, building to full strength for the joint practice on the 8th of August and the preseason opener. Those joint practices and preseason games are crucial because they simulate real game conditions and provide reps that truly count towards a player's development and readiness. Being the 10th overall pick, there's no question that the Bears expect Lovelin to be a significant contributor this year. The luxury, of course, is that they already have Cole Kmet, a reliable and proven tight end, so Lovelin doesn't have to carry the entire load immediately. But not carrying the load doesn't mean he's going to be on the sidelines or barely used. On the contrary, this guy is a playmaker. He's the kind of player you want to involve in the passing game early, and often because his skill set can open up the offense and make the Bears more dynamic and unpredictable. Looking back at how Detroit's head coach Ben Johnson uses his tight ends, they ran an impressive 32% of their snaps in 12 personnel sets, meaning 2 tight ends on the field, which was third highest in the entire NFL last year. Both Cole Kmet and Lovelin have the talent to surpass many other tight ends in the league, so it would make a lot of sense for the Bears to at least try to hit that kind of usage mark or get close to it. There's also a rookie named Luther Burden, who could shake things up in the receiver room. If he proves to be really good, he might command a lot of snaps in 3 wide receiver sets, which would shift formations to a more 11 personnel looks. But even with Burden's emergence, the team will want to get Lovelin involved significantly. The offense is built in a way that tight ends have a critical role, not just as blockers, but as key weapons in the passing game. And Lovelin fits that mold perfectly. So while the initial feeling is that he won't be 100% right out of the gate, there's every reason to believe he will be ready to make meaningful contributions fairly early on. We just need to be patient and see how he handles the jump from controlled camp drills to full-speed contact practices. This is a vital moment for him and for the Bears as they want to maximize the return on their high draft pick and add another weapon to the offense. It's also a fascinating comparison when you look at who will have the better season statistically in 2025, Lovelin or Kmet. While stats don't always tell the whole story, they do give a solid sense of who is being targeted more and making a bigger impact in the box score. Will Lovelin's role grow to surpass Kmet's production, or will the veteran tight end continue to be the leader in catches, yards, and touchdowns? The answer is up for debate, and fans should keep a close eye on both of them as the season unfolds. If you were to bet on who puts up better numbers, who would you choose? It's the kind of question that fuels discussions among fans and analysts alike. In any case, the most important thing is that the Bears get Lovelin healthy and involved, because He represents a significant part of the team's future. The front office and coaching staff have made it clear that they want him to be an integral piece on offense, and if his shoulder holds up, he could very well be a difference maker in key moments. Now, while we're on the topic of tight ends and offensive weapons, it's impossible not to touch briefly on the overall shape of the Bears offense heading into the new season. The Bears have been trying to build a balanced, multifaceted attack that can keep defenses guessing. Lovelin's addition brings a new dimension to that because of his athleticism, route running ability, and physicality. Pair him with Kmet's solid hands and blocking prowess, and you've got a two tight end combination that can line up in various formations and create mismatches across the field. That versatility is invaluable in today's NFL, where defensive coordinators are constantly scheming to take away the quarterback's favorite targets. Having multiple reliable tight ends opens up opportunities for play-action passes, mismatches against linebackers or safeties, and even red zone scoring chances. Lovelin's ability to be used both as a receiver and a blocker adds to the unpredictability of the Bears' offense and can help open up running lanes and passing windows. Of course, all of this hinges on his health and how quickly he can ramp back into game shape without aggravating the shoulder injury. But given the reports from his football camp and the cautious optimism from the team, there's reason for Bears fans to feel hopeful. The next few weeks will be crucial in tracking his progress, watching how he handles the early phases of camp, how he responds to contact, and how quickly he can return to full participation will give us a clearer sense of what kind of season he's going to have. And let's not forget that tight end play is often about chemistry with the quarterback as well. Lovelin will need to build trust and timing with Justin Fields to maximize his impact. Fields has shown the ability to extend plays and find tight ends in space, so a healthy and confident Lovelin could become one of his favorite targets, especially in critical third down situations and red zone opportunities. In summary, Lovelin's shoulder injury remains the main storyline as training camp approaches. While he's making progress and doing well in lighter drills, the real test is still ahead when the pads go on and contact becomes routine. If he can stay healthy and ramp up over the next couple of weeks, the Bears could have a dynamic new weapon to bolster their offense in 2025. But for now, patience is key, and the team will carefully manage his workload to ensure a strong finish to camp and a solid start to the season. Switching gears now to Jawan Jennings and the buzz around his contract situation and potential trade. This one has been making waves across the league, especially after the report from Adam Schefter that Jennings is at a crossroads. He either wants a new contract or he wants to be traded. That's a pretty big statement coming from a player who just had a breakout season, nearly hitting the 1,000-yard mark despite some challenges within the 49ers offense. Now, Jennings is set to make around $7.5 million this year, but clearly he believes his value exceeds that, which isn't surprising given how well he performed last year. The 49ers gave Jennings a contract extension last year, around 2 years for $15 million, but it seems like that deal hasn't quelled his desire for more recognition or compensation. When a player has a career year, it's natural they want their pay to reflect that, especially in a league where contracts can be notoriously team-friendly, particularly in the earlier years of a deal. Jennings' breakout didn't happen overnight. The first few years of his career, he was mostly a role player, good blocker, occasional big plays. But last season, he really stepped up as a primary receiver when Brandon Ayuk and others missed time. That type of performance increases a player's leverage significantly. Now, as for the Bears, there's been some chatter about whether they could or should get involved in the Jawan Jennings saga. Let's be crystal clear, the Bears are not going to trade for Jennings. Why? Because right now, wide receiver isn't their most pressing need. The Bears have a fairly deep receiver group with DJ Moore, Romeo Doubs, Luther Burden, and Amari Rodgers. Sorry, Zacharias. Meaning they don't need to pour resources or draft capital into a wideout like Jennings. While he is a very talented receiver with a physical style and good contested catch ability, the Bears' focus is on strengthening other areas of the roster, especially the offensive line pass rush and perhaps secondary. The receiver room is in decent shape for now, so adding Jennings wouldn't solve a critical problem. But just because the Bears won't trade for Jennings doesn't mean his situation won't affect them indirectly. The key lies in the fact that the Bears play the 49ers in Week 17 of the regular season on Sunday Night Football. a high-stakes primetime matchup that could have playoff implications. The 49ers are hoping to contend again this year, but they're not without question marks. Their top receiver, Brandon Ayuk, is still rehabbing a serious multi-ligament knee injury, and it's uncertain if he'll be ready for the opener, let alone full strength throughout the season. If Jennings gets traded or holds out for part of the year, San Francisco's receiving core takes a major hit. That could translate into a weaker 49ers offense overall and potentially a missed opportunity in a tightly contested wildcard race. When you think about it, the 49ers wide receiver depth beyond Jennings and Ayuk isn't exactly rock solid. Ricky Pearsall, who stepped up last year, is still relatively unproven and coming back from a gunshot wound suffered in training camp a while back, so his availability and performance are uncertain. Brock Purdy, their quarterback, is excellent, but needs reliable targets to thrive. If the 49ers lose Jennings for a stretch or trade him away, their offense might become more one-dimensional, relying heavily on tight ends and running backs to make plays, which could put more pressure on the defense and special teams. All of this means that the Bears could indirectly benefit from Jennings' contract drama. If the 49ers offense struggles because of missing key receivers, that could make the Bears' path easier in that late season showdown. Additionally, the Bears could find themselves competing against a slightly weakened San Francisco team for a playoff spot, improving their own odds by default. It's the kind of if this then that scenario that happens all the time in the NFL, where moves and disputes on one team ripple across the league, impacting other franchises in ways that aren't immediately obvious. Now let's talk about Jennings' contract demands. Reports indicate he's looking for a deal similar to Jerry Jeudy or Cooper Kupp, somewhere in the range of $15 to $17.5 million per year. That's a significant raise from his current salary, and while it's understandable given his recent performance, it's a big commitment for any team. The 49ers have a lot of cap space, but they also made several moves this offseason aimed at shedding dead money and restructuring contracts. Their willingness to hand out a high-priced deal depends not just on Jennings' numbers, but on the overall strategy Shanahan and the front office want to pursue. There's also the question of what kind of trade value Jennings holds if the 49ers decide to move on. Realistically, teams won't be offering first-round picks for a receiver in this contract situation. Most likely, a 4th or 5th round pick would be the best return. For a player like Jennings, who's talented but not a proven superstar, that's about right. The 49ers might prefer to keep him and try to renegotiate or let him play out the season, rather than risk trading him for less than what they believe he's worth. In a way, Jennings has leverage because the 49ers other wide receivers are not proven starters at his level, and Ayuk's injury means they need someone reliable to step up. On the flip side, the 49ers have invested heavily in Brock Purdy and their offensive line, so they want to build around those pieces. Losing Jennings would leave a glaring hole, especially with the team's high playoff expectations. For Bears fans, it's a story to keep on the radar. The NFL is a league of interconnected dominoes, and a shakeup on one team's roster can have meaningful consequences elsewhere. Even if the Bears aren't directly involved in the Jennings trade or contract drama, they could reap indirect benefits down the stretch, especially if the 49ers stumble because of a depleted receiving core. Looking ahead, the Week 17 Sunday night matchup between the Bears and 49ers will be one to watch closely. If Jennings is healthy and playing, it's a tough challenge. But if he's out or limited, the Bears defense might have an easier time containing the San Francisco offense. That could tilt the playoff race in Chicago's favor, which is why these off-field stories matter so much. It's also worth considering that even if Jennings does hold out or pushes for a trade, the 49ers might find a middle ground to keep him. They have cap flexibility, and with Shanahan's offense relying on precise timing and chemistry, they'd rather not disrupt the continuity right before or during the season. So while the drama could drag on for a while, there's still a chance Jennings stays put and gets paid accordingly. The bigger picture here is how teams manage their salary cap and player demands in a league that's increasingly player-friendly, but still constrained by limits. Players like Jennings want to cash in when they have breakout years because the average NFL career is short and contracts rarely fully reflect a player's true market value. Teams, on the other hand, have to juggle finances, roster needs, and long-term strategy. When those interests clash, you get stories like this that grab headlines and fuel speculation. To wrap this up, Jawan Jennings' situation is a fascinating one that highlights the complex negotiations behind the scenes in professional football. For the Bears, it's a storyline to follow, especially because of the late season matchup that could impact playoff positioning. The Bears aren't chasing Jennings, but the ripple effects of his contract demands and potential trade could indirectly influence Chicago's chances this year. As always, the NFL offseason and training camp periods are full of these storylines where injuries, contracts, trades, and team needs intersect in unpredictable ways. That's part of what makes following the league so compelling for fans, analysts, and players alike. Keep an eye on Jennings, watch how Lovelin progresses, and get ready for what promises to be an exciting season ahead. The Bears have their work cut out for them, but if everything clicks, including health and smart roster moves, they could be a contender to run the North and make some noise in the playoffs. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are swirling in the NFL world as a major shakeup might be brewing in Chicago. Rumors suggest that Aaron Donald, the defensive powerhouse known for his relentless pressure and game-changing presence, could be signing with the Chicago Bears. If true, this move would be nothing short of monumental, potentially transforming the Bears' defensive line into one of the most feared units in the league. Donald's name has long been synonymous with dominance on the defensive front. His ability to disrupt quarterbacks, sack them at will, and turn the tide of games makes him a coveted asset for any team. The prospect of him joining Chicago is sparking intense speculation about how the Bears might finally build a defense capable of shaking the foundation of rival offenses. Sources close to the matter hint that the deal is in advanced stages, with Aaron Donald reportedly promising a hunt for the QBs once he arrives in Chicago. The phrase has NFL insiders buzzing as it signals a commitment to aggressive, relentless pressure on opposing quarterbacks, a style that could resurrect the Bears' defensive legacy and bring excitement back to the city's fans. Chicago has struggled to find consistent defensive dominance in recent years, often falling short against the league's top offenses. Bringing in a talent like Donald could change that narrative overnight. Imagine the Bears' defensive line, anchored by a player of his caliber, setting the tone and forcing opposing teams to rethink their game plans. The implications for the Bears' overall strategy are enormous. A dominant defensive front allows for more creative blitz packages and coverage schemes, freeing up the secondary and creating turnover opportunities. Donald's leadership and experience would also be invaluable in mentoring younger players eager to make their mark. While no official announcement has been made, the buzz around this potential signing continues to grow louder by the day. Fans, analysts, and rival teams alike are watching closely, waiting to see if this rumor materializes into one of the most significant acquisitions of the offseason. If Aaron Donald does indeed join the Bears, the NFL landscape could witness a new era of defensive excellence centered in Chicago. The question remains, will the hunt for the QBs begin in earnest this coming season? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear. The Bears may be on the verge of a defensive revolution. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.